I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. 713 through the 21, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low key. I'm sipping low key and honest, find a rider. I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, I get those goosebumps every time.
The goosebumps are back, baby, and so are we. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Loaded Back NUFC for a special squad game. The price is right. We've only been talking about this for the last 3 months, so we said we might as well do it. Lads, how are you? Pete, we'll start with you, Mr. Trust in the elections. Yeah, how are you, Pete? And tell us about that.
Not yet. But, yeah, I'm good. Considering I'm back at work this week. Not too bad at all. And it was out. I only found out by chance that they put us out on Sunday evening. I was just scrambling, checked my emails just by chance, and it was there. But put myself forward for the NUST elections 2023. So hopefully I'll be elected, and then we can hope to build a new partnership with the club, which will be great and be great to be a part of. And it's all part of the journey, but still a long way to go yet. The voting's still in, so if you haven't voted, make sure you do.
Vote now, and also give a vote to our resident mod in Lisa Moore. So get a vote for Lisa as well. Chris, we'll go to you next. How are you?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, I'm good. Just got back last night from Budapest, so I was away with the lads over the weekend, which was lovely. Feeling it a little bit now, I'm not going to lie. Don't feel great, but I got those goosebumps, and here I am. Couldn't miss out on Squad Game 3. Really, really been looking forward to this show. But yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate, and I hope all you lads are good too, and everyone watching, of course.
Nice one. And Richie, it's nice to know that you got the new kit early. Everyone else, and you're wearing it tonight. But don't tell me you're prodding. How are you?
I'm getting there. I've been a bit under the weather the last few days. No, I have been. You guys knew I wasn't overly clever over the weekend. So I'm starting to cut the other side anyway. Hopefully, so I'm away next week. I'll meet Joel's, so hopefully right and rain for them. But as Chris says, can't miss squad game.
But before we get into squad game, we're going to give a few minutes to the latest breaking news on Newcastle today, because there's a few stories that have popped up, and I just want to cover them briefly first. We may spend 5 minutes on each. So first up is the podcast that Jamie Rubin was on today, and I took a few quotes here that I saw going on as well. Actually, I grabbed it from the Irish Mags chat. They borrowed it from somewhere else, I'm sure. And one of the quotes is, "Our footballing team will have detailed conversations before it gets to the board about which areas we can strengthen, possible targets they like, and that will all be backed up by data. Our chairman of the team, Yasser, is the most data-driven individual you've ever met." Now, he's been busy, actually, today. We'll get to that in a few minutes as well. It really is instilled into the club a discipline of getting all the facts and all the data first. And it goes on to say about Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe is very particular about the type of player he brings in. They must fight for the team. They must be a team player. They work tirelessly. They give everything on the pitch. They love the city and the club. Data is so important, but also the character of the individual as well. You don't want to upset the dressing room. You don't want to change the dynamic. So you have to be very particular about the character you bring in. Lads, I don't know if you listened to that podcast today. I listened to it, but it was a very good interview with Jamie Rubin. But any thoughts on those quotes, Stephen? Anyone like to go?
I listened to it. I thought it was a really good pod. I thought he was really open with what he was talking about, just across the 45 minutes. I thought those quotes were quite interesting that you've just read out, Daz. And it kind of gives me the opinion that certain players maybe have been thrown or pushed his way, meaning Eddie Howe, and Eddie Howe's gone, nah, they're not right. They're not the players that I want. So the fact that he's emphasised that means that that's probably happened at some point. Maybe it was like a Jesse Lingard or someone like that that was put forward to him by the club before he's gone now. I don't want them. So I thought that was quite telling. But he just seems like a really, really nice, genuine guy, to be honest. And it was just nice to hear him talk, because I don't know what you guys think, but like we hear Mirdad and quite a lot, and they're great and they're amazing people, but you don't really hear a lot from Jamie Rubin. So it was nice to hear his perspective on the club and all things Newcastle. So that's me.
Cool. And we do get to see him at the Southampton game as well. Give us a thumbs up. Obviously, a loaded fan. He'll probably be on here next podcast. Chris, did you get to hear it or hear anything of it today?
Do you know what, mate? I haven't listened to it yet, but I will be doing later. But yeah, those quotes that you've read out were very telling. And I particularly liked, the fact that he mentioned Yasir and said that, he's a big details man, big facts man. So again, it kind of just gives us a little bit of insight into how we do our transfer dealings these days. And it's right, that a lot of background checks are done, and us lads have said, haven't we, for a while, that, what gives us so much confidence these days is that we're not signing players because he looked good, or someone's recommended him, or he's had the odds, good game. Anyone who comes through the doors at Newcastle are going to have been extensively scouted, researched, watched. So it's exciting for us as a fan base, because we know a lot of work's gone in, and they're not players just being signed on a whim or on reputation, which is unfortunately what's happened in the past, and it still goes on at other clubs, doesn't it? Like, just to throw a name out there, like an Enzo Fernandez, for example. His price, he looks a good player, don't get me wrong, but is he a £120 million player? Not convinced, if I'm honest. Time will tell. But a lot of people are already saying, including Chelsea fans, that perhaps they have spent a bit too much on him. But this is from those quotes, and obviously the little bit of insight that you provide us with there, Daz. I'm looking forward to watching it, and it's just good to get an insight from the club, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be on YouTube as well, but I listened to it today. It was on Spotify, is where I saw it or heard it. Richie, did you get to listen to that today?
No, not unfortunately, because I'll definitely be catching up there tonight or in the morning. But going off the comments you read out, obviously it's quite telling that we all, when the takeover came about and everyone was going right, that it'll be Mbappe, it'll be Neymar, it'll be Messi. Saudis don't like to lose anything; they want to win everything, sort of thing. So that's what all those names that all the media were pushing. But obviously we had it. We were a bit more conservative. We thought we'd do it correctly and stuff. But I think of those comments as well, it's obviously Saudi have tried to have. We all know that the Saudis want a marquee signing of sorts, but at the same ilk, it has to fit the team that Eddie Howe wants. And one of the key words, and we've mentioned this numerous times on this podcast, is character. The person coming in could still be a marquee signing as long as they've got the right character that fit the team ethic and stuff like that. So that was the key thing for me on that, and obviously the data thing as well. You look at we know all the people that he's brought into the coaching side of things, the analytical side of things as well, and the fact that Yasser likes all the data sort of thing, it all sort of tallies up. So if Eddie Howe knows what player they want, and obviously the transfer committee discuss it. Then they go to Yasser, and they've got the data to back up, which they will have done because they're not daft on this one. This is probably why we're seeing people like Alexander Isak, for example, getting bought 12 months possibly earlier than what they could have, because the price was there. The analytics data had been done, so they moved the transfer 12 months forward. So that's probably what you'll see this window as well. There'll be people that they'll be looking for, not just this window and the winter window. There'll be like the window next season and the season after. They'll be looking like 24 months in advance where they want to go if the plan goes correct. So this is what you'll see. You'll probably see some moves this window that might go completely under the radar. But then there's the ones like obviously we had with Botman last time where they went in the January, didn't get over, but they used the right person, so they came back in 6 months later. It's that sort of thing where you'll possibly see people that we've covered over the last few transfer shorts that might come back into the equation again this transfer window. But then again, you might see some complete, out of the blue transfers come through or names being mentioned. That's fantastic. And, the window hasn't been officially open, but I think it's up to something like 273 different names we've been linked with since the end of the Premier League season, since we knew we had Champions League football. So, look, this is what we say every transfer window now. It keeps us going up with Fully Loaded Transfer Show and the content that everyone loves doing. And yes, by the end of it, we get to the deadline day when the transfer show, which lasts all night, and you're drained and you need a few days off after that. Yeah. That's the part and parcel of actually enjoying the transfer window for a change. Not like under the previous regime where you could pretty much just tick along for the whole transfer window over the whole season and be lucky if you get a loan deal through, or didn't quite get it over the line when it, the deadline passed. But look, it's all positive. Looks good. That's all I can say.
Cool. We will move on because we want to get to squad game as well, because that's what everyone's waiting for. They want to play at home as well. But next topic I want to bring up, I found someone that is busier than Pete Davey. It took me a while, and talk about going under the radar. Yasser, he only goes and buys the rest of golf. So there you go. There you go. That's what you do. So yeah, that's a very, very interesting story. Will we touch on it? Will we not? Will we touch a bit on
it? Daz, you missed the major thing that happened yesterday when they bought the 4 major clubs from the Saudi League yesterday as well. Yeah. So it's been a busy 24 hours for Yasser, but I think it's
just bought it. Yeah, we're finished, lads. We're finished.
We're done.
I just think it's interesting. Obviously, the golf thing that took not just the norm, that took sporting world in general by storm after what happened over the last 18 months or so with Live Golf and the PGA Tour. But yesterday's story was pretty big, and I know obviously you've got all the sport washing fans who are NUFC fan base and stuff, say they're just trying to obviously buy football and stuff like that. And it was all the people saying, oh, well, it could be good for Newcastle because, you could go and buy Messi or obviously like you had have done today and bought Benzema and then just turn and go, oh, let's just loan him to Newcastle for a season and see how it goes, sort of thing. So, the rumour mill's funny, and do you know what I mean? It's nice to see NUFC Twitter like this, rather than be at each other's throats over negative stuff, or it has been for God knows how long.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll move on from that topic, and I want to get to the next one before we get into the squad game, is this is looking like the new kit. The leaks came out today. Everyone is expecting something official to drop pretty soon, and it's all leading into the 9th of June, which is Friday, and that's Fender concert as well. So, yeah, it's looking something like that. And as you can see there, Richie's modeling it already. And also the Ginger Perlo. Are you wearing it as well, Pete? We'll get into one here. But
I was grabbing the brandy bottle. Sorry.
Ginger Perlo pointed out that compared to this one, last season's one, the one I'm wearing, the white stripe in the middle, this one has a black stripe in the middle. It makes it stand out more, actually. But to me, it's more Newcastle. It's more less Juventus, more Newcastle. And for where the badge is as well, there's a black stripe on the badge, and that is not the case this season. It's a white stripe on the badge. So, any thoughts on the new kit, lads, if that is going to be it?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it too.
Yeah, same.
I don't normally like to get kits early on. I tend to get them either halfway towards the end of the season just because they're so damn expensive. However, I'll definitely be looking to get that as soon as it comes out. Might have to wait 6 weeks to get it. You know what Castoria like, but it'll be worth it when it arrives.
Yeah, with
Massive,
Champions League badge.
Massive shout outs as well for the new sponsor, if that's the case, because look how good it looks with the black and white.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And Chris, they could change that. They could just put golf on the front of it.
Yeah, just golf.
There we go, golf. But
that looks lovely. It's really, really smart. Really
how
nice.
would you pronounce that? Would you say Silla?
I'd say Sella. Yeah, Sella.
Sella.
How is it pronounced? Do we know?
Presume it's a Sella, but
Sella, yeah.
Sella. Yeah.
Get your siren going, Daz. Get your siren going.
Oh, we've got a siren, have we? Hang on. Go for it.
Super chat received.
I've missed that.
Here it is.
9 goals. Thank you very much. 9 goals. Thank you very much. Hey, we play it one more time.
Super chat received.
Thanks for that. And 9 goals says, I've been meaning to donate for a while. Just wanted to thank you lads for the content all season. Always look forward to the shows and thoroughly enjoy them. Also, best of luck to Pete and Lisa in the upcoming elections. Nice one, 9 goals. Thanks very much.
That's top stuff.
Well, that was it for the small little bits that I wanted to cover. So let's start squad game. And as I get the spreadsheet ready, everyone is eager to see the spreadsheet for this one. And here we go. So, and how you play along at home as well is this. If you remember from last time, we have 4 different hashtags. You don't even have to use the hashtag if you don't want, but the one that's just hidden by the comment there says champ, hashtag champ. If you want to, if the player we mentioned you believe should be in the Champions League quadrant, if you believe there should be a squad player, it's hashtag squad. So you'd say, let's say it's Dubravka, hashtag good luck. For example, if you believe we should cut our losses and sell him on, or hashtag offers, put him up for sale. So there's four different hashtags, and we play along. So champ, squad, offers, good luck. So that is it. So let us get started. So we start off with Mr. Martin Dubravka, and we're going to add a value as well. If we're going to sell someone, we're going to add a value to them. So maybe we'll keep that for the offers and the good luck part. We won't bother with the Champions League or the squad. So Martin Dubravka, lads, where are you putting Martin Dubravka?
I've got to say it, Daz. This is very impressive.
Why?
I like this.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's very organised. I love it.
Thank you very much. And so Martin Dubravka is. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
What do you want?
No, nothing. No. I'm just paying my good friend a compliment. No, I can see you put a lot of work in, mate. I can see you put a lot of work in.
Thank you very much. I had this done ages ago. So Martin Dubravka, he's listed as 2.5 million, but he's 34. Where are we placing him? Champions League, squad, open to offers, or good luck?
Right, am I first?
Go on, you can go first.
Oh, damn it.
We're all nice here, otherwise.
Okay. Martin Dubravka offers.
Offers for Pete.
Yeah.
Chris?
So are we saying offers, Daz, is like we're putting them up for sale?
Yeah, well, then we're going to have to attach a price. The price where I got these prices actually was from transfermarket.co.uk. Okay. So they're a bit off. So
yeah, it's interesting this one, because for me it would either be offers like Pete said, or it would be squad, because he's not number one. But if he was happy to be number 2, and we got rid of other goalkeepers, then maybe he would stay in the squad. But I'll tell you what, for the sake of ease, and obviously we can revisit this. I will agree and go with offers, and then if we need to revisit, we can.
Richie, what do you have?
Well, it's pretty simple, really. You know, he's our number 2 goalkeeper who we're prepared to listen to offers. If he's prepared to go out on loan, it means the club's prepared to listen to offers. So I think that's exactly where he's going to go. We keep him as number 2 unless you get a good offer in. Simple as.
Okay, and then are we? Would you accept 2.5 million?
No, we're daft.
Is that what the transfer value is?
Yeah,
I think we get more than that. What do we sign him for? 4 million? I think we could get that. I think we could get that value.
Did it tell you how long was left on his contract?
I did, but I didn't want to.
Oh, he's only come with half the info. Come on,
day doing this show, half a day will be enough. I think 2.5 for a 34-year-old. I know he's a goalie. Goalies can play on for longer. 3 million.
Nah.
Penders has gone 7-8 mil.
You know what? Pete, I was going to say exactly the same. I was going to say about 7.5 million.
What?
That's still a pit. That's still a pittance, right? And bear in mind, goalkeepers can play for years. It's not like where it's physically taxing and stuff as on the body like it is if you're an outfield player. So for him, you could potentially got another at least 4 or 5 years. It's a snip.
He's 34 now. I think he's got another 4 years at a decent level for me. But 7-8 mil, flipping out, snap their hand off for that. I'm thinking about us getting on money back. I would say, I don't know what you guys think. I'd say 5 million. 5 million is a fair price. 5 million, you can take him.
Apparently, his contract runs out in 2025, so he's got 2 years left on his deal.
7.5 million then.
I think 5 or 6 million for me. 5 or 6 million.
5. I'm hearing 5. Let's go with that.
Yeah,
Let's move
5
on.
million's
Move
fair.
on.
5 million's fair.
But I tell you what, that's used to the win the bid transfer negotiators for the town, isn't it?
One down, 37 to go. 36 to go.
Lads, you've got to start high. Need to haggle a little bit, but you don't just go it off 5 million.
15 million. There we go.
There you go.
15 million. Yeah.
We'll take half of it.
If we sell him to Forest, it will be.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. Bloody hell.
All right, let's go. Kieran Trippier. He's down as 30 million, by the way. He's 32 years old. He has to go in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I think
Of course he does.
Look, lads, there's certain names here. Just put it straight in there. We'll just go like that. You don't even need to discuss it.
Okay, let's move on and ignore the transfer value stuff for the check. We're not selling anyone in these two really. Okay, Dummett up next. He's down as 1.2 million. He's 31 years old. He's played very rarely, if at all, last season.
Cheers, Rock.
Thank you for coming a member.
Mate.
Nice one, Rock. This one. Is that D-Rock?
It could be. It could well be.
It probably is.
Don't. Pete might get starstruck.
He's one of the goats. He's one of the absolute goats. Don't do that.
The Rock might make a counter offer for loaded off Piff. But anyway, let's go on. Paul Dummett. I know Eddie Howe is going to. This should be ours, though, not what Eddie Howe would do. This should be what we would do.
Get him.
Yellow was sending away Wilson down to the championship last season. Last time we did this, remember? Okay, Dummett, you're saying squad, are you, Chris? Yeah, I put him good luck, but that's just me.
I'd have to put him squad, and maybe I'm being. Maybe I'm thinking ahead and doing exactly what you told me not to do, Daz, but I'm thinking he is homegrown. He's come through the academy. Yeah. We need those players. Is he going to get much football? Probably not. But I think as part of our squad, we need him in.
Okay, yeah. The homegrown element comes into play for sure.
I'll be honest, lads, that's the only reason I keep him.
Yeah.
And genuinely, I think That'll be the only reason that Eddie Howe's keeping him. He'll say about his effect in the background and the squad and blah blah blah. And yeah, he's got mates there, but that is the reason why he'll be staying at Newcastle, for the fact that he's a homegrown. Other than that, he'd be Championship, like lower, the Championship or lower, easily.
That price tag looks a little bit high as well.
We don't have to change that. Don't worry about that.
That's not that. Considering we got him for nothing, came through the academy.
Yeah,
we're making money.
Yeah.
Right, we'll move on. I think we have a decision there. Let's go to Sven Botman, Champions League. I nearly said Championship there. Champions League. So he's 23.
About that is the 45 million. He's worth more than that.
I agree.
Double it, mate.
Yeah.
Double it.
Yeah, well, we're not selling them, but 90. There we go. And Trippier, do you want to put a value on Trippier? 25.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. Rightio, let's go to Fabian Schär. 10 million is his value there. I think we bought him for 4. He's 31. For me, I would put him squad.
Squad is good, like. Being fair, he's going to be in the Champions League squad.
Yeah.
He's going to be it full stop, because at the end of the way things stand at this moment in time, he is your first choice right centre back. Yeah. So you have that to, at this moment in time, put him in the Champions League squad. He'll be Premier League squad. He's staying at the club. He's not going anywhere. That's how I look at it anyway.
Yeah, it's a good point, that Rich.
The one thing I'll add to that as well is that we've had this conversation many a time with many a player. Bruno, Botman, whatever. It's Shaw's place to lose. So even if we do go out and get a right-sided centre-back, first game of the season, Shaw's starting. And it'll be a case of, Shaw, you perform, and when you don't, that's when the new guy comes in. If we sign a new guy, which it looks like we might well do. But for me, he has to be in the Champions League squad. He's had the right to be there. He's had a brilliant season.
But so just to clarify,
this is a good point, Chris. Go on, you go ahead first. Go on.
Yeah, just to clarify. So we're basically saying, aren't we, the blue section, so the top left of our our kingpins are untouchables. The top right are the ones who are part of the squad, and we want them as part of the squad, and they probably won't be on the transfer list. The bottom two, the bottom right one's like, please just go. And then the bottom left one is, we're a bit unsure. If a decent offer come in, we'd let them go, i.e., maybe like a Jamal Lascelles or something like that. Am I right in saying that, Dad?
That's exactly what I was going to say as well, Chris. You hit the nail on the head. So that's why I think I wouldn't be putting Schär into this Champions League quality. These are untouchable for now and for the next couple of years kind of scenario.
So do you think Shaw's untouchable then?
No. I think he sits lovely into that squad position. He's a player we want for next season and probably the season after that. But after that, then I'd be moving him on.
Yeah, because to be fair, if you think about it, if somebody came in now and said 15 million for Schär, we'd probably all go, ooh, whatever. And not forgetting, if we're all after the right centre back, who's going to lose his place in the team?
But you want him for a squad. This is the whole point.
Yeah.
Oh God, So that's why
you want triple evidence. There's no way for me. There's no way I'm selling Fabian Schär this summer.
No.
We're not. By putting them in that green box, we're not selling them. We're like anyone that goes in this blue and green box, we're not selling. Okay.
Top line aren't getting sold.
And it's the bottom. Maybe might sell if we get a good offer, and definitely selling.
Okay. So we're doing this on the proviso that we're going to bring a right centre back in. Is that right? Is that what? Yes. Is that what? Like for you, Dan, you're making that decision, putting him in the green on the basis that we sign a right centre back.
I'm probably saying, Pete, we're putting... Well, the reason I'm saying it is because I think we're saying that we need a new right centre-back. And in the next 2 or 3 years... Like, for example, Sven Botman Sven Botman is a prime example. So he's our left centre back, and he's going to be here for the next 5 or 6 years. Now I know you'll probably point out that Kevin Trippier is there as well, but Kevin Trippier is ready made. He's the first name on the sheet. Even if we brought in a new right back, I think he'd still be the first name on the sheet. Whereas Fabian Schär, it's probably harsh because at the moment Fabian Schär's going in there with Paul Dummett, so it probably feels a bit like because he's not in the same bracket as Paul Dummett at this moment, but he's part of the squad and we don't want them to go. So that top line aren't going anywhere. We're saying we want them, but in time they probably need replacing. That's how I'd view the top right one.
What I'm hearing, guys, is that we've got two that's saying he's in the Champions League kind of box here category, and two that are saying he's in the squad. So I'm going to make a call here.
I'll tell you what, lads. Right after this.
Richie,
seriously, guys. After this argument,
Richie, wait. I'm going to make a call to someone who doesn't sit on the fence. So I'm just going to call Keith Roll and see what he thinks. Yes, he says put him in the squad. Sorry, Richie, go on.
No, I was going to say, look, we know he's not going to get sold, so he has to be part of the squad full stop. So it probably is right to put it in the green section because he isn't going anywhere, but it still highlights the fact that you do need to upgrade in that department.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's fair, Rich.
Right. So, someone who's not as controversial, Jamal Lascelles. Where are you putting him? He's 29. He's down here in the being the value of 7 million. I'd stick him in offers.
I think the bottom two boxes are going to be easier because for me, bottom left offers is if an decent offer comes in, he's gone. Bottom right is we need rid straight away. So for me, he's either one or the other, and I'd probably say bottom left offers. If he stays another year, I wouldn't be obsessed over it.
No, I agree. I'd put him in the offers because he keeps getting told he's a valuable in that leadership group and stuff like that, and people respect him in the dressing room. He'd be perfect for people coming into the squad, like new transfers coming for him and Trippier to take them under the wing, show them say that there's no pressure on them, sort of thing. But if someone came in, say for example, obviously he came through at Forest, if Forest put in a fantastic offer for him, let him go back, you know what I mean? It would probably be a nice move for him and his family, sort of thing. But at the end of the day, we're under no obligation to sell him. But as we know, he's not Fabian Schär. He's not playing every week. He did all right when he came on, so he's listened to offers because he still might need. We might have injury ravaged start the season after the transfer window. You might need him, but at the end of the day, if someone came in and said, "Look, I'll give you 15 million for Lascelles," would you take? Of course, you would. So the offers for me.
And what value? Yeah, you mentioned 15 million there, Richie. And Pete, are you aligned with that as well? Putting Lascelles in the offers.
I'd be happy for him. I'm happy for him to be in there, but I'd prefer him to go to it. If I'm honest with you, I think we need an upgrade in the centre. I think we're desperate for it. Fabian Schär, there's no guarantee he can do another season with playing pretty much every game. And I'm not being funny, but Jamal Lascelles coming in doesn't fill anybody with confidence. I think we've all reacted when Jamal Lascelles been put in the team and gone, and there's a genuine worry there. We can't have that going into a Champions League season. We can't. So for me, I'd be happy to see him go in the grey. But look, you guys are putting him there. It still means he's open to offers. So more than that.
Yeah. And so an offer comes in. What are you letting them go for? Give us a figure. Higher than 7 million, I'm presuming. Right?
I think 10 million is a fair price.
10. Go. We'll let them go for 10. What is the chat? Someone says free Richie. Cool. Keep those comments coming in and shout them out as well if any good ones coming in as well. So on to Joe Linton. Champions League.
Goes without saying, I think. Big Joe.
Right. Yep. I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, like Chris likes to do.
Go for it.
If you're looking at the upgrades that we're potentially looking for centre field, does that automatically mean he's not a Champions League player, or the people coming in above him could be Champions League players? So that would make him like a Fabian Schär type thing, a squad player.
Interesting. Yeah, it's a good point.
At this moment in time, he's Champions League, But is he going to be Champions League if you say bought 2 centre midfielders? That's the issue you're going to have, because we've seen how integral Sean Longstaff beat the centre midfield. We know Bruno is pretty much the first name on the sheet for centre midfield. So then if you buy 2 more people and you've got Joe Willock in there, Joe Linton, Sean Longstaff, they can't all be Champions League based, can they, technically? That's just not my thinking on that, and just obviously throw it out there, going off what you were mentioning before, Daz.
Yeah. True, Richie.
For Eddie Howe, though, he's the first name on the team sheet. I think Eddie Howe's already alluded to that. He's the guy. He's the first guy that he went to improve his game. The way Eddie Howe talks about him, there's only one thing for Eddie. With Eddie Howe, the one person he's taking with him is Joe Linton, wherever he goes. Like, in terms of Champions League, Europa League, wherever it is, he's going to be one of the starters. So for me, I think you've got more chance of Joe Willock losing his place, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
No, it is an interesting discussion, but maybe we have to do this again when the transfer window closes. But,
you know what, that's what we can do as well. We can whiz through, can't we? And then we can see how it looks with them all there.
Yeah.
And then we can maybe jiggle a few rounds and see what we think.
Yeah.
No, to be fair, I do agree with you, lads, on the Champions League bit. I was just spinning it like how you did before for Fabian and Shaw. That was all, Daz.
No. It's good. That's what it's all about. Right,
it's too late, Mitch. Everyone will shout at you now, mate. It's too late. You've stuck your knife in the ground now, lad. That's it.
Next up is Anthony Gordon. Where are we having Anthony Gordon? It has to be one of the top 2. Where?
I think it's got to be squad. I do.
Yeah, I agree.
He hasn't proved himself.
Not yet, no. I think he will, but yeah.
Yeah, squad.
Richie?
It's definitely going to be the squad going forward and stuff like that. But that's not to say that if he might have a fantastic pre-season and start number 1 left wing choice. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's a lot going on with a potential play that we're going to discuss, no doubt, in depth shortly. But I think for this moment in time, he hasn't been playing, so you'd have to put him in the squad at this moment in time. So I agree on that one.
Okay. Next one, Yano's favourite, Callum Wilson. And Yano, if you remember last year, Yano had put him down in Championship. And he saw that show, and he came out all guns blazing and fired us into the Champions League. But where are we putting him now? That is the question.
It's a very good question. I want to say squads, but I'm umming and ahhing over Champions League.
It would depend on Eddie Howe, really.
I think squad. So
he's Eddie Howe's boy. I personally would put squad. I've said to you boys before, Alexander Isak's our first choice. He is for me. So going into next season, I fully expect Isak to start. But
yeah,
you just don't know. You just don't know. But long term, I think squad is probably the right place.
Yeah.
Which?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Do you know what? I'm gonna put a little twist in there. Just say offers, and I'm going to say for one reason. We know he still scores goals in the Premier League. If someone turned around to you and said, "I'll give you what you paid for him," would you take it? Which was 20 million.
No, I'd want more.
How old is he?
31.
He is 31.
So say 20 million, 25 million sort of thing. Would you take it?
I'd want to see that strikers list. I want to see what list of strikers we've got, and whether or not Yassi is going to push the button on one of them.
Honestly, I think Callum Wilson may well go next summer, not this summer.
I think he's got 12 months full stop left maximum. But I'm just doing what Chris likes to do, play devil's advocate. You know what I mean? And this is what we're doing this show. Yes, I agree. He's squad at this moment in time. But if you got a 25 million offer and it made you go and say, I don't know, how many strikers have we seen that we really like and talked about, and it was really viably possible that we could get it if we sold Wilson? Would you take it?
I don't disagree with you, mate.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I think it's fair. But I the one thing I'll say is that I think the teams that are willing to take Wilson away from Newcastle are not going to offer Wilson what he wants.
Unless it's Forest.
He's no. It's not. It's not even about money. It's not about money for Callum Wilson. Not right now. He
wants to win something.
He's earned the right to play Champions League football. He wants to play Champions League football, just like he went all out to make sure he made
World
the
Cup.
World Cup. He made the World Cup. I think Callum Wilson's quite relaxed on England now. If he doesn't get picked, he picked his goal with it. He's been to World Cup. He got an assist on his name. He can always say that he's been there. He wants to go all out and say, I play Champions League football. Even if it's a few minutes here, even if he gets one goal in the group stages, he wants to go, I've played Champions League football in my career. And I think he'll use this season to do that. He might not play many minutes, and then I think he'll leave next summer.
I've said this before. Sorry, Daz. I've said this before, boys. And not that I want it to happen. And you know, I'm playing dangerous here because I'm telling you my thoughts. But I've said before.
Here we go.
Honestly, I said if I was the Everton chairman, I would sell Onana for 60, 70 million, whatever we're going to get for him, and I would go to Newcastle and I'd say 20 million Callum Wilson, all right, 25 million, whatever it may be. And then I would be on the phone to Callum Wilson's agent, begging him, offering him anything. Because if Everton had a Callum Wilson up front this season, they wouldn't have been where they were. Simple as. But that's not me saying let's give it to Callum Wilson, because I don't want him to go. And like Pete, I think he's going to want to play Champions League football. But that won't stop other clubs saying to him, you know, you'll play week in, week out. You can maintain your England position if you're playing week in, week out. But I do think we might put him in the squad.
Hang on a sec, Chris. You're telling me you want to send Callum Wilson to Everton?
I don't want to send Callum Wilson to Everton. No, it is. See, this is it now. This is it, bitch. This is what happens. All I'm saying is, if I was the Everton chairman, I would be on the blower, and I would be trying to get Callum Wilson because he guarantees you goals. Now, you know, we're in a different bracket now. We're you know, I'm sure this list of strikers that we've got, there's probably some monstrous names on there. And in 2 years' time, is Callum Wilson going to be at the club? Probably not. And if, you know, in 2 years' time, what will we get for Callum Wilson? 5 million? Will his contract expire? I don't know. That's all I'm saying. But no, let's put him in squad.
You'd be on the blower to Wilson's agent, say, get him to Newcastle. I'd be on the blower to Wilson, say, fuck that shit. That's what I'd do.
I don't think he would.
Yeah, anywhere but. Even
anywhere but Everton.
Chris, can I just ask you a quick question? Because obviously, just the figures that you were pulling out there for Everton and stuff like that. You don't happen to know someone called Morgan Hume, do you? By any chance?
No.
Because I screenshot this like last week. I saw it on Twitter, and I thought of Chris. And then you've literally just you've just backed this up. Seriously, this is Morgan's ideal Everton transfer. I do apologise for the Newcastle content show, right? But he actually mentions this is Everton's perfect transfer window. Okay, so it's more about the income and the hilarious prices that go with it.
Oh, it's just the silly one with the prices.
Harry Kane is going to go to Everton for 25 million. Neymar for nothing. Militao for 45 million, Barella for 35 million, Kvaratskhelia for 50 million, De Vrij for 5 million, James Rodriguez for nothing, Isco for nothing, and João Cancelo for 35 million. However, to fund that, they're going to sell Calvert-Lewin for 70 million, Onana for 85 million, Maupay for 20 million, Holgate for 5 million. Keane for 15 million and Doucouré for 5 million. Guess what? They still make 25 million profit. I tell you what, I'd love to know what you guys are smoking down there, mate. Seriously.
Mate, I tell you what, they don't need to buy Callum Wilson for 25 million if they're getting Kane, do they?
No.
Oh, no.
We went off on a bit of a sidetrack there, but let's get back on it, because next up It's very topical at this moment, and I'm sure one man on Thursday night, this might be a good time to mention it, is going to be all on this as well, as we bring Graham Bailey to Fully Loaded Transfer Show at Thursday at 7:30, and that's one of the names we will be discussing, as Graham does like to mention ASM, so see what his thoughts are on that. But yeah, ASM, cryptic message sent out.
Is he saying he put me in offers?
I think so.
Can be arranged.
I think we'll take a free transfer for Mart back, Chris.
Oh God!
There we go, free of charge. No, we'll just put zero there, Chris, for that one. Right, we said ASM up next. He's 26, down here as 35 million. It does look like he is in that offers bracket with Newcastle at the moment. But lads, let's get your thoughts there, because I know it's a topic we haven't really covered yet.
Offers
for me too.
Yeah.
And just on his performance this season, there was some bright sparks, but I listened offers.
If you go back to the first squad game, I said that this was the season of his reckoning for him. He was either going to be here for the long haul or he'd be on his way this summer. And I think if you look at what I think, he's slowly coming around to how Eddie Howe wants to play. But as we all know, he's probably one of the only sellable assets we get. If we want, if we were to get, there's a few different prices being banded around. But if you got a fantastic figure for him and it allowed you to get, as we mentioned the other day, if you got sold ASM and it allowed you to bring in, I know, Vega, his fee paid for Vega, would you take it? Sort of thing. It's this sort of thing that you've got to look at going forward, because you're building a squad not just for this next 12 months, you're building it going forward. You want to strengthen every single window going forward from now on. So for me, he's one of the only sellable assets that we can get decent money for. So I would listen to offers for him.
Yeah.
If he stays in the squad, I'm happy. But he's still a fantastic and can come on in the cup games, and we all know he can change games on his day. He's a fantastic player. But at the end of the day, I think it's the one sellable asset we've got which can bring in good money. So I'd listen to offers. If it wasn't the right offer, then he stays. End of.
Yeah. I'm aligned with that logic as well.
Go on, Chris.
Pete doesn't want to say it. Pete doesn't want to say it.
Go on, Chris.
Right. Putting all this to one side, and I've got to be careful what I say now, because everyone in the chat seems to take what I say as gospel. That's all I want. I'm just going to be so careful. I'm catching up on all these. Everyone's like, Chris wants to sell Wilson. I don't want to sell Wilson. I was just saying. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm getting off Chris Wilson. I'm getting off Callum Wilson. I'm going to try and put everything to one side. Forget that statement, whatever. I would have St. Maximin in the squad. That's where I'd put him. We know that the message was cryptic. We know that some people have taken it one way, other people have taken it another way. Until anything, proper comes out, anything for him. So to ASM to Everton. I'm gonna say squad. I would like ASM to be in the squad next season. And I'll leave it there, because we could probably do another hour on ASM. So we will save that for another show. So I'll say squad.
Squad. Now, hang on. Pete, we come to you next.
So, Matt Ritchie, I'll sell Matt Ritchie. Matt Ritchie to the championship. Great servant to the club. But yeah, Matt Ritchie gone.
No, you're not getting away to that easily, Pete. We need an answer.
Where did you say that?
I said I'm aligning with Richie. Look, I'd be happy that he's in the squad, but I think with he's our most sellable asset, and if it means selling ASM to buy someone else or to contribute towards even a Dominic Szoboszlai or Vega, maybe I'd look at the offer that I received. Now, not a stupid offer. I want a decent offer in there, but. Yeah, I said it. I like Richie as well. I said at the start of the season I'd make a call at the end of the season, and while I think he can offer something, it hasn't happened for him this season.
So we've got 2 offers and
Two
we've
offers.
got 1
I
squad.
think Pender's comment at the bottom there sort of fits what we were both saying, Daz.
Yeah.
So we've got
Max,
two.
Max is not going for that price. Max is not going for that price. Not for the teams that he'll go to, and this is part of the problem for me.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not. I would like Maxi to stay and be part of the squad. I would genuinely like that because I think he has something to offer. I genuinely do. The guy is I say barely kicked a ball. He's played football this season, but he's got 5 assists. He probably could have had 12 if players had finished their chances. And I think if that had happened, I think we'd be looking at Alan St-Maximin a lot differently. However, you're absolutely right. And I think this has been well known for at least 8 to 10 months now, that he is our only sellable asset. The only sellable asset that we actually want to get rid of, that would actually genuinely leave the club. And so therefore, with fair play and all the rest of it, we have to consider selling him. Now, the 30, 35 million, 40 million, whatever, there's no way we're getting that. And the reason being is because of the clubs that would look to sign him. I don't think ASM would go to another English club, and I don't think we would allow him to go to another English club because I don't think we would want to strengthen another English club by letting him go there. So this is why the AC Milan links are there. Now, the one thing I'll throw out to you is that if AC Milan couldn't afford to spend Botman in the summer for 35 million, there's no way that they're paying 35, 40 million for Alan St-Maximin because they just don't have that sort of money. The league doesn't have that sort of money.
Yeah, but they have just got to the semi-finals of the Champions League, so they've got some good Champions League money coming in for the run they've had and re-qualifying for next year as well.
Look, they've had back-to-back Champions League, so they've had money, but they've just, they come off the back of winning Serie A last summer and couldn't afford to spend Botman. So by just making Champions League, they're in the same position right now, is that if they couldn't afford Sven Botman last summer off winning Serie A and getting Champions League football, getting Champions League this season and not winning Serie A, they're in a position where I think they're not going to be able to afford him. Now, they would have to sell someone big in order to pay that sort of price. I think ASM would probably go to AC Milan, and he would probably go to AC Milan for around 25 million. And I think Newcastle would take that. I think we get more than our money back than what we paid for him. I think it was 16 rising to 20 for him. And I think at that point, I think the club and ASM and AC Milan are all happy. And I genuinely think that is what is likely to happen. There's some, and that's not about the message and all the rest of it. I don't buy into that. He's put them out. He put them out at the end of last season, and he puts them out all the time. So that doesn't make me think anything different. But I genuinely think this is the season where we have to raise some money, and this is why I think some players will leave. And Alan St-Maximin will generate the most money out of everybody. I think the only thing that changes Alan St-Maximin leaving is if someone comes in for Miguel Almiron and goes, here's 25 million. We want to take Miguel Almiron. And they go, oh, okay, maybe I'll consider that instead. And I think if someone like Miguel Almiron leaves, Alan St-Maximin stays. And we've talked about the fact that Miggy might leave if the fee's there. That's the only thing that will change. Yeah. If someone comes in with a big offer, we talked about Wilson, although we don't think it was going to happen. We talked about Wilson potentially coming in. So it was, Chris Kenwright, should we call him? Chris Kenwright. Chris Kenwright, the Everton owner, comes in with his 25, 30 million for Callum Wilson. That changes things. It's not likely to happen. So therefore, he is the only sellable asset. So I think he will in the summer. I love the guy. I think he saved the club in the 2 years before the new owners came in. But as we've always said, and I said this last summer as well, as much as I love him, this club needs to move forward. And if it means selling him, that's going to bring in better quality players, so be it. It is what it is.
So be it.
Daz, quick one on ESM. Just 2 quick points before obviously whoever can answer it. Would you consider selling them to one of the PIF-owned Saudi teams, as Tim Cairn said in the chat, which I thought was a fantastic one because, you know, like you see how much, obviously, they're not paying a lot of money for a lot of people, but they're paying phenomenal wages to these superstars. But obviously, would they be interested in helping Newcastle out for FFP by selling Maxi for, say, 50 million or something like that? But also, I wanted to ask, had anybody else saw the highlight reel that Maxi put out when he put the letter out yesterday? Somebody else picked up on Twitter. I don't know if anyone else saw it, where he put all these, how he always puts these highlight reels with everything anyway. He always does all these tricks and crosses and stuff like that. But the one thing that obviously it's there is a highlight reel for him to show what he's doing. But a lot of the highlights he put on there actually showed all the chances that Newcastle players were missing.
Yeah,
because as you were just saying, Pete, is that a good look if he was to stay in the squad as well? That he's also highlighted the flaws of the current Newcastle squad as well.
To touch on the Saudi link, Rich, I'll let the other lads answer the other questions you had. But to touch on the Saudi link, it's very interesting, isn't it? Because yes, we know that we would be able to loan Saudi players, and we'll probably get favourable terms because they are owned by PIF. And what is interesting, the reason I bring this up is because what is interesting about St. Maximin, as Pete pointed out, is that yes, he is probably worth 40 to 50 million. If he was on form, if he was playing well, if if a Real Madrid or a Barcelona come in, that's what we'd ask for. Because of the people who are going to try and get him, he will be, and wrongly, but he will be around 20, 25, 30. If you're being incredibly lucky, it'll probably be an add-on or something like that. So it does make you wonder about the Saudi link, because if St. Maximin was sold to Saudi for 40 million, no one would blink an eye. No one would say anything because it's St. Maximin. If you ask, well, people know, if you ask any of our guests this season who we had on away days, who's the player you least look forward to playing against? Every single person says St. Maximin. Everybody.
Yeah. All of them. And just to answer Richie's point about the highlight reel, someone had put the highlight reel up on Twitter the day before he put that comment out of all the chances that he created. And so him putting it on there, actually, it might ring more of a than what we think. Now, is he wrong to put that out there? I don't think he is at all. I think what he's doing is emphasizing that actually he does create chances in this team. You look at all those chances that he created, you know, the ones against Man City earlier on in the season, Man United, West Ham. There's a couple of others out there. Man United,
Chelsea last game of the season when Mickey missed them.
In the season,
at
least a couple of times. You're looking at those, and these are not half chances. These are sitters. These are sitters that should have been goals. Now, if you look at that, you're looking at double figures assists. And this is the point that I made. If those go in and those players put those chances away, you're looking at double figures assists. You already got 5 this season. You're then looking at Alan St. Maximin in a completely different light.
Yeah.
You're adding at least 10 million, 15 million maybe onto his price tag at 25 years old. You're looking at things a lot differently. And I think that's what Alan St. Maximin was doing. Like, forget what we put. We've put Alan St. Maximin in the offers, and it's probably the right section that he goes into. But actually, what I think Alan St. Maximin was doing with his video was going to the club. I'm offering something here. I'm creating chances. I'm doing something for this team. Maybe they don't realize it, or maybe they don't see it, or maybe he's putting it out there to the fans to say, I'm offering something here. That could have been 5, 10, that could have been 10, 12 assists this season. I could do that next season. Maybe he's doing it that way. But look, He's the only sellable asset, so he's likely to leave. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I'm having second thoughts now. We'll put him in the offer section. To tell you the truth, I just think selling him for that cheap as well, 25 million is just ridiculous. Because I remember before we were talking about 60 million or something for Maxi, and I know he hasn't had the greatest of seasons at all, but I don't know. I'm on. I wanted to, if he's going, I want it to be a very good offer. That he goes for, and I see your point, Pete, that the likes of AC Milan won't pay that kind of price, but so it may sniff out someone else that will put up the cash to take him away. But yeah, I think we'll leave him where he is for now.
The one thing I'll finish on is that Luke Edwards said just recently in the last week, and people might have their opinion on Luke Edwards, whatever. I thought it was a really good point. He mentioned Alan St-Maximin should get another year at Newcastle. And he made the point in saying, Alan St-Maximin, when does he ever turn up? He turns up in the big games against the big clubs. What better way to have Alan St-Maximin as part of your squad turn up for Champions League games? That's where you're going to get the best of him. And why not have an Alan St-Maximin for one more year coming in, whether he starts, whether he comes off the bench, and create havoc for Champions League teams that don't know how to deal with it? Could he be the difference between us getting out the group stages or not? I thought that was a really good point. But keep him in the offers, because he's likely to leave. Let's not beat around the bush. He's likely to go. But I think there is more than a strong argument for keeping him in this team. Yeah.
Pete, just one final thing to add on to that. Like I say, we could go on forever about this one, couldn't we? But just one more thing to add in. If Maxi stays for another year as well, having played Champions League football, if he has a better season than this, which I think he would
has to have.
Yeah, surely. And he makes a few good, performances in the Champions League. Does that then raise the bar for who he may potentially go and leave?
Exactly right, mate. Spot on. And
so then around the house, what are we doing with ASM? Are we leaving them in offers, or are we moving them to the squad?
He's already been placed, Daz. He's already been placed.
Let's revisit that one at the end. I'm going to mark it.
We can't do it again.
He was always going to be the most talked about player in the whole squad. He was always going to.
He always is. He always is.
So Maxi, we're coming back to save you before the show's out. Let's move on. Matt Ritchie, Pete, you've already made your mind up there, and I agree. God, I would send him, but I know Eddie Howe wants to keep him. I talked about getting rid of him 2 years ago. But he does have a value in the squad, as in the coaching kind of side, and kind of the voice, very close to the players. But anyone have him anywhere else, then good luck here.
He doesn't. Unfortunately, for Matt Ritchie, lovely fella, great servant. He doesn't tick any other boxes like a Paul Dummett. So therefore, for me, he has to lose his squad place. Yeah, he's got to go.
Yeah. I just realised we've done an hour. We're already at Matt Ritchie.
I know. I think we've done about 10 players.
I think there's still a few players on here that you could go through and just put it in the boxes. We'd all agree anyway, so it makes no difference.
Yeah.
Let's try and whiz them, and then we can always discuss them.
The rest of the squad fits in the next 15 minutes. So all right.
Okay, Jamal Lewis, who I like to call Jamal Rosales now and again, but Jamal Lewis, offers.
I'm fed up of banging his drum. I keep feeling like to play him.
Everton don't even want him.
Mate, no, I'm not even talking about Everton anymore. No. Do you know what? I think the moment's passed for him now. I think he does have to go. I always thought, we could see, there could be a player in there. We could finally see the best of him. I just think it's too much now. I just think it's time to go.
Yeah, time to go. No, there's no one arguing with that. So he's gone. He's in the offer section. Matt Target, I would stick him in the offer section.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Okay. Actually, we'll have to revisit the prices at the end. Okay, we'll look at those prices. Isaac is going nowhere. He's going straight to the Champions League. I'm not here.
I'm not going anywhere.
Lads, got to be careful. We're going to be. Are we going to run out of time here? Because it's like we're going quite quick now. We've got to.
I know. We'll have to try and fill the gap.
That's 4 players. That's 4 players in a minute. Calm down.
I know.
So Chris, would Everton go for Isak? Do you think?
Oh God, no, we'll just all we'll do is if we finish that quick, we'll just start talking about St. Maximin again.
There you go. Kraft, I listened to offers. I know he's been injured all season. He's a Swedish connection. He did well under Eddie Howe. He's 28 though. He's only down listed as 4 million, so you're not going to get much for him.
I think offers is fair. Yeah, I think offers is fair because I agree. That's like, again, if he was in the squad, I've got no problem with it. But if somebody comes in and goes, I don't know, I'll give you 8 million for Kraft, probably take it.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah. But I think the easiest thing to do is it's like you look at the other right back that's probably going to be discussed. It could be Manquillo. For me, you sell Manquillo. You keep Kraft as your backup at the moment for Trippier, and you've got Ashby that goes in the squad. So
yeah,
that's how I would look at it.
Yeah.
What about you, Pete, for Kraft?
Yeah, any one of those 2 boxes at the bottom, he just needs to leave, and that's no disrespect to him, kind of.
Pack your bags, you're going.
I just think ACL injury. Are they ever? Is a player ever really the same? Some are. Callum Wilson's been very lucky, but they are very small chances that people are the same player. I just think I'd sell him. I'd get rid of him. I'd actually get rid of him more than Manquillo, and I actually want Manquillo to go. So that just shows how much I want Kraft to leave the club, and we get another right back in. But that's me.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think we're listening off for Kraft. Maurice Karius, 29.
I think he's got to go bottom right because I don't think we're going to give him a new contract, and I think his wife wants to go back to Italy. I know Lisa Mole said she's keen to keep him for visual purposes, but I think so. Sorry about that, Lisa, but he won't be going to Everton, and I think he's going to get released, and he'll go to Italy, so everything will be all right.
And isn't there talk though that, and we're not going on what Eddie Howe wants here, we're going on what we're saying, but isn't there talk that Eddie Howe wants to try and keep him as well?
Yeah, there is. I'd only keep him as a third choice if I'm honest.
Yeah.
If that's the case, you'd have to put him in squad if you were going to offer him a new deal, because he would be third choice. So that is squad, because obviously you wouldn't really sell him because at the end of the day he's got no contract limit anyway, so you can't listen to offer for him. He can go. He's not going to go. Obviously you say sell him. We can't sell him.
I don't think he signs the deal. I just don't think he'll stay, and I don't think he'll want to stay as third choice either.
Yeah.
Look, you can't blame him for going.
No.
All right, let's move on. Let's go for Javi Manquillo. Putting him in there beside Kraft or whoever we get rid of first.
I'm between the two. Like Pete, I prefer Manquillo over Kraft. The only reason I'm probably thinking about putting Manquillo in squad personally is the fact that he's right back, left back, knows the club. Will he play many minutes? No. Do I trust him in the cup away to Scunthorpe on a Thursday night? Yes. So I just I think he's just another number in the squad, and he keeps himself to himself. He doesn't cause any problems. He's professional. I personally, I'd just put him in squad, but that's just me.
29.
You know what? For as long as he's been at the club, he has never moaned once.
No, that's what I mean.
Whether he's been playing starter, whether he's
does he speak English though?
Right back. I think he speaks a little bit of English. I don't think it's great, but actually,
can't complain.
Saying that, is he not a good supplement for Almiron and one or two other South American players? Because he gets on with all those players really well. He's got a good relationship with all of them. Is he not a good supplement for them?
New Richie.
Well, from the South American perspective. Yeah. I know he could be because he speaks the same language as the South American boys. So is that a good supplement for the fact that he's there, because he seems to be really part of everything. You know, when you see the videos of the club, like he always seems to be in the middle of anything that those boys are doing, because obviously they all speak Spanish. So like, I like, you need players in the team that never. Well, we've bigged up Richie, never moaned, just got on with it. Manquillo's the same. If you could get another year out of him, I'd do it. I'd drop him in the squad and get him to play. I think the only start that he had was against Sheffield Wednesday. We obviously went out the cup, but he was one of the best performers on that day. Even when we were shit, he was one of the best performers on that day. He never let us down. Still created chances late on. I'd want a better quality of right back to be an understudy for Trippier, but I wouldn't be against him being a third choice. Right back, left back as an option. I don't know. I don't know what you boys think.
I can see why you want to keep him in the squad. I'm happy to keep him in the squad. So for those reasons outlined.
What do you think, Richie?
I'll be listening to offers from.
Yeah.
What's the chat think?
Like you said, offers.
He's probably one of those players, isn't he? Like, again, I've got no problem with him staying in the team. I think he's done a job. He's never really let us down. Like, I've never kind of come off watching a game and gone, bloody hell, Manquillo was awful then. You know what I mean? He's not one of those. He's quite a reliable, dependable player. But if someone came in and went, oh, we won't have him, Manquillo is 5 million, I'd probably go, oh yeah, great, yeah, we'll have that. So I've got no problem with him being in offers. It's just that I wonder whether, one, anyone will bid for him, and two, he probably falls in the same bracket as Kraft. I don't think he'd let both of them go, but one of them could go.
Yeah. I think he'd pick up a team in Spain. I think a team in Spain.
As well.
Yeah, in Spain, yeah.
He'd probably start all day. Mark Todd's gone squad. Lisa and Michael Palmer have gone offers. Jordan Tunflower said keep. Jesus Christ, Zaha.
It's mad, that, isn't it? I've just typed it in the chat. They're just taking over now, aren't they? They're just going to sign everybody. 15 million a season.
Jesus.
So they get Newcastle for now.
Hey, that could lead into, that might be a ploy as well, as the suggestion came earlier. Why not look at trying to buy some of the Newcastle players in, like a Javi Manquillo? He could go off there as well.
If he's getting offered 300 grand a week, he will.
10 million for him. There you go.
Yeah.
Or ASM gave us 100 million. Off he goes. Yeah.
Who's to say that Callum Wilson couldn't go over there for like 40 million?
Every time I'll bid him.
I mean, he'd rather go to Everton, wouldn't he? Let's be honest.
Put it this way. Remember Al Walid's team, Al Hilal had Bafatembi Gomez a few years ago. So that's the sort of age of strikers they're looking at. You're talking about
that's scary celebration. Yeah.
You're right. But yeah, Chrissy Kenwright might come in and spoil the party for everyone else. Hey, that's sticking now, Chris. It's
oh, God.
Chris Mashiri.
Right.
Mashiri.
Let's move on. Let's go to Ryan Fraser. I think we're listening to offers for Ryan Fraser, aren't we?
We're really going to discuss him.
Yeah.
The quicker he gets out, the better. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Popey, Champions League.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Yep. Jacob Murphy, for me, squad.
Yeah.
Not to spoil the flow. Just want to maybe think about and come back to later or on another show. I'll ask the chat. Anyone in the chat, throw your comments in about this comment I'm about to make. Don't worry, it's not a mental crazy one, so don't think I'm losing the plot. Just all I'm asking. You all know Nick, and like I noticed you boys all straight away went, yeah, Nick Pope next season, yeah, Champions League.
I knew you were gonna say this. I knew it. I knew you were gonna say it.
Is, and this is one for the chat, not for the boys. This is for the chat. Is there a possibility that we, Eddie Howe and the backroom team look to bring in another goalkeeper to challenge Nick Pope for the #1 spot. That's not to say Nick Pope's going to leave, but, you know, are we going to try and bring in a goalkeeper to really challenge Nick Pope, and Nick Pope could eventually become our #2? That's all I'm going to say.
That's reasonable for me.
All I'm going to say, because a lot of goalkeepers are going to leave this season. A lot of goalkeepers. So, you know.
After the season he's had, though, are they going to come in now and go, here's a guy to challenge you? Because that almost says that what you did this season wasn't good enough.
Yeah, it does. It does. I mean, you know, off the top of my head, he's only had a couple of wobbles, a couple of, you know, bad thing. Not bad things. That's probably harsh to say. A couple of moments where I've gone, you know, that could have been better or whatever. They are Lafont. Michael Pomar's on it. He knows the score.
No.
Oh no.
Chris Kamal's got you to a T.
No, Kamal.
Chris Mashiri's trying to sell again.
All my blue mates absolutely adore Jordan Pickford, and I have to tell them and remind them all the time that he's just an idiot, and that's me framing it very mildly. There's just no way.
Good, that's that. But yeah, no,
sorry, Josh, you carry on.
No, I see where you're coming from there, Chris. To challenge Nick Pope, someone younger as well. But will an up and coming top class?
It's like what me and Pete discussed the other night. We mentioned Robert Sanchez would probably be a good, fantastic #2 to come and challenge him.
Yeah,
he's not wanted at Brighton, but I'll throw another one out there. He's been linked with other clubs. David Raya. Yeah. Like, at Brentford, only got a year left on his contract. Been talked about replacing David De Gea. As well as that, would you take David De Gea?
No.
David De Gea as a replacement for, you know, devil's advocate now. You know,
did you say David De Gea or David Raya?
You said both.
I said both.
Maybe Raya.
Yeah,
not De Gea. Yeah.
Raya's got 1 year left on his contract. Lots of teams are in for him. Would you take Raya to push Nick Pope, or would you take David De Gea this summer on a free? People don't like him. He's he got the clean sheet, the highest clean sheets in the Premier League this season. Would you take that?
Brentford,
I know I do.
Against Liverpool.
What would you do, Pete?
I tell David De Gea to get the fuck out of here because I'm.
Yay!
That's just me. I just threw him out there as a classic Chris. That was advocate.
It's dangerous doing that, Pete, because then people will keep quoting you and saying you love David De Gea. That's it. Someone will say you were trying to replace Nick Pope with David De Gea. No, that'll be it.
No. That's why I quickly said he could get the fuck out of here. But David Raya, good goalkeeper. Good with his feet as well. Good with his feet.
Let's move on. Let's go to Miggy. Now, Miggy, he's 29 years old. He had the season of his life. Will he ever have a season like that ever again? He's down here as 35 million. I listened to offers for Miggy at 35 million, though. I'm bringing someone else. But he'd be a good squad player to have.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think he's potentially another sellable asset if the right price comes in. Happy for like ESM I said before. Happy for him to stay in the squad. There's a lot worse people in the squad that need to go before him. But if you get the right money in, sell him because it could be put back in the team and get some fantastic players. I know Newcastle have been looking at for God knows how long.
His stock will never ever be higher than what it is right now.
No.
That's the last time you'll get a really good price from him. I mean, what price does it show in there? Does
35 million.
Like, if we got offered 25, 30 million, I think we'd take it.
Yeah.
But he's what, 29 next season? You hit the numbers that he did this season. I reckon you get 10, 15 max with a year left on his contract.
So we'd sell him for 30 million. That's what we're saying.
I think most fans, most Newcastle fans, if we got a bid of 30 million plus for Miggy, I think most fans would be going, you know what, fair enough. Fair enough, you've done great for the club, off you go. But I'll be honest with you, lads, if we're looking for a winger this season, this summer, it has to be a right hand sided winger, in my opinion. I think that's where we need to strengthen the most. Because we've got Isak that can play on there. We can play Isak on that left-hand side as and when. Although we want him as a frontline striker, we can play him on the left-hand side. I think our priority this summer should be a right-hand sided winger. So that for me, I would have Miggy as a squad member for that reason. But I completely agree. And look, I'm just giving you my opinion. I completely agree with the office section, which is why when I talked about ASM, I talked about Miggy Almiron, because I think for either of those two players, if you get a decent offer or a good offer for them, I think they go. But I genuinely think we need a right-sided attacking like inside forward to come in the summer to really take us on to the next level. I would genuinely believe that.
Can I just throw this comment up from Bobby? Sorry, Rich, I'm just robbing the chat a minute. Bobby, I just want to let you know, mate, it probably does look like that. It's like, yeah, we need to get rid of all these players. It's absolutely not, mate. Bobby's wrote, why are you so intent on selling all of our squad depth? This is madness. That Bobby's panicking here. We don't need the money. And you're right, Bobby. We don't need the money. But obviously, with the financial fair play, yes, you're right. Like, we could sell all those players for $1 million. And we'd be like, oh, great, we'll just spend 50 million on the other players. But the problem with the financial fair play is you've got to balance your books. Now, we all know, richest club in the world. We've got loads and loads of money. And if there was no financial restrictions, we could just sell or release all these players and just go, Sam, we'll just bring new ones in. But with the financial fair play, we have to balance the books. So when we're talking here about, the likes of, say, Matt Target 15, I mean, that may be open to discussion, or Kraft for 4 million, or Razor for 8 million. By releasing their wages and also getting that price for those players, we can then bring in other players because we're allowed to spend the money. The problem is we can't just get rid of those players and then spend money, because then we'll end up doing, a Chelsea or an Everton or a Man City where we go over the, the budget that we're allowed to do. Now, we're also not saying we've put them in offers here. We've got 8 players in offers. We probably won't sell, 8 players, but these are the players who, if we got the phone call and they were like, oh, we're interested in Jamal Lewis, we'd be like, okay, yeah, let's talk. If someone rang and said, oh, we're interested in Joe Linton, we'd probably go, no, not interested.
Yeah,
that's
exactly
where that's come and go. That's where we're going with that.
Nice to explain there, Chris.
That's just before we move over, just go on Michael Pomar, just it follows on quite nicely what Chris was saying there about how we don't need the money in FFP and stuff like that. Michael Pomar makes a really good point here. It says if we brought in Dominic Szoboszlai and Madison, making it ASM out, would anybody would be upset with that?
No.
I think we can get away with, and I say get away with loosely. I think we can, and you boys know we put it out there as a short the other week, last week. I think we can sign Dominic Szoboszlai and Madison and keep one of Miggy and ASM. I think we can keep 3 out of the 4. You got to remember, guys, our squad is not ready for European football as it stands right now. You look at that squad, we've gone through over half of that squad. The squad is not ready to fight on 4 fronts. It's not. So
just remember as well, regards to the FFP thing, because it's very one-sided the way it comes out. It's obviously, if we spend 60 million on someone on a 5-year contract, that's 60 million spread out over the 5 years for FFP. So that's 12.5 million each year. However, if we sold Miggy and ASM and we got 60 million for them, that 60 million goes straight into the pot. It's not reciprocated back the same way where we get 12.5 million each 5 years. However, it's only worked out the contract for the buying team. The selling team gets the money straight away to technically play with. So that 60 million could actually, technically, we could spend double that, but that 60 million really helps with like the FFP spread over the length of the contract.
Nice one, Kieran Maguire.
I just don't think we need to send both.
No, I don't either. I agree. I agree, Pete. I think it'll be either or. I don't think both go.
Because we could supplement. And if we got 30 million for one of ASM or Miggy Almiron, and then we supplemented it with a 10 million for Jamal Lascelles, a 5 million for we said Martin Dubravka, a 5 million for who else? ML Kraft. What, 8 million for Ryan Fraser? You might even be able to get a little bit more. I couldn't believe he's like 27 or 28. He's still relatively young. You could get a little bit more for him.
29.
Sorry, it's 29. Okay, yeah. 29. You could probably get 7 or 8 million for him for a championship club or a Premier League club. You've got Jamal Lewis. You could get at least 10 million for him. You've already recouped your other 30 million that you probably would have got for a Miggy or an ASM. So you're recouping that money back, and you're still able to do what you want to do without selling both of those players. I just think we could get both of those players and keep a Miggy and an ASM and be really strong in attacking areas. Because let's not forget, in games this season, the things that have let us down with the amount of draws that we've had is the fact that we've not had the creativity or goals from elsewhere on the pitch, particularly on the right or left wing. Like you boys have just said, Maddison and Dominic Szoboszlai can both play as number 8. We've talked about this for the past year with Maddison. They can both play as number 8, but they can both play as a number 10. They can both play. Dominic Szoboszlai can play on the left. Madison can play on the right. So you've got versatility there where you can play and move those players around and still be effective. And I just think we need those options on the pitch. We genuinely need those options on the pitch, but just as much as importantly, we need them off the bench as well. We need to be able to look at that bench and go, you know what? There's 5 guys that can make the difference. And you want to be able to pull off a Szoboszlai or a Miggy or a Madison to make the difference. I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
We clip that bit, Chris. We play about
that needs clipping. I love that. That needs clipping.
Let's move on.
Pete was just saying it was Pete saying it. He was kept a straight face, but he was like, "We need to pull them off. We need to pull one of them off. I don't care who it is. One of them. Just get one of them."
Let's move on.
Hey, I'll tell you something for nothing. I ain't wearing a fucking shirt. I ain't wearing a fucking shirt. I'll tell you that for nothing.
Pull them off.
We'll make the shirt and you can wear it again, Chris.
Yeah, it's fine. Wear it again. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, brilliant. Joe Willock. Where are you sticking Joe Willock here?
Squad.
Yeah, squad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd say squad. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, he's in the same bracket as Shah for me. I think I want him in the team. I don't want him to go anywhere, but it's his position to lose at the moment. But I do think that we're going to bring in a player who will put him on the bench. That's how I see it.
Yeah, and he'll fight back as well.
Yeah, he will. He will. Yeah, and it's his place to lose. But I think he'd be squad personally.
Hold on. I've just seen. Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh no, sorry, Pete. I was going to say, what about you guys? What you say? You've just seen?
I just seen from Yano. He said he doesn't think that Lewis and Fraser will get 8 million combined. What?
Mm-hmm. Combined 4 million each.
And Ryan Fraser, they would get more than 8 million combined.
Yeah,
I don't think.
I hope so.
Jamal Lewis, you had said 10 there a few minutes ago, Pete, for Jamal. I can't see him getting 10 for him. We bought him for 15, didn't we? And Liverpool wouldn't buy him and pay that money at the time. I think if we got 8, the way his stock has fallen an awful lot.
He's still a young player. Well,
still a young player, 25, yeah.
25?
Yeah.
Great age.
Great age, yeah. But
I think we could get around 8 million for Jamal Lewis alone.
Yeah, 8 million is the max I think we'll get.
And I think there's still money to be made on Ryan Fraser. We didn't pay it. We didn't pay a penny for him. We could make money on him.
Yeah.
Even if it was 3-4 million, there's more than 8 million there.
Yeah. If we still have value there, we say 5
for Fraser.
I think 5's fair. Yeah.
5. That's right, yeah. And these are good candidates as well to send to Saudi Arabia.
You so long crack.
Right.
Does she actually want us to push her for votes on the trustee or not?
No, come on, Lisa.
Oh, well, Lisa.
It's because we said we're getting rid of Carius. That's what it is.
Right, let's go.
Is it because we want to move on Carius?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it's just a lot of the random devil's advocate comments we've been making tonight.
Yeah.
So we're leaving Willock where he is in squad, yeah? Happy enough for that. Yeah, okay. Look, he's staying anyway. It's the main thing.
Yeah.
Mark Gillespie. Oh, good luck.
You know my thoughts on Mark Gillespie, boys.
You want him at Everton, don't you?
No,
for me, I'll just be dead quick. I think he stays as fair choice keeper. I think it's madness to let him go. I really do, mate. I think it's madness. He's a homegrown player. He doesn't kick a football, and he's probably on about £5,000 a week. He falls in the Paul Dummett section. I don't see why you would get rid of him and then bring in someone who's on more wages, has got no links to the squads or the city, and you're going to probably pay him double what you're paying him, and he won't kick a football either. I just think it's mad.
Chris, we actually discussed this the other night when you were away. Yeah. We mentioned because obviously you wanted to talk about keepers in the short, but we actually mentioned Fraser Forster and Tim Krul. Yes. Because both came through the academy. Both, obviously, you're looking at Forster now, he's probably going to be first choice unless someone like David Raya goes in at Spurs. But Tim Krul, for example, obviously his wife's from Bedlington. He's sitting on the bench too with nothing at Norwich because he's been on the bench since September. So he's got a year left his contract with a cheeky little bid for him to come and be third choice keeper. I'd rather have him as third choice keeper on the bench to be a homegrown player than have Mark Gillespie.
Yeah, no, to be fair, that's a good point. I didn't know he only had a year left on his contract. I mean, I suppose it's how the owners see it. I mean, I suppose, and correct me if I'm wrong here.
He's gone. Woodman's already been sold.
Yeah, he's at Preston, and he wouldn't come back to sit on the bench anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He's got his future ahead of him. Still, he's still in his mid-20s. You know, he wants to be a first choice keeper where he ever goes and build his career. He's not going to get that if he comes to Newcastle.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm just that's what I was just about to say then, and to coin a phrase, has just said it. Gillespie didn't come through the academy. So if you were going to bring in a player who's homegrown and has come through the academy, that would make sense. That would make sense to me. But yeah, I think if we were going for Krul or Forster as a replacement, I could live with that. Absolutely.
Who would you have, Chris? I think I did ask you boys a question on Friday. I said, who would you have, Chris, out of Fraser Forster or Tim Krul, if you could get one of them on a free?
If I could get one of them, I'd want Krul. I don't think Forster's that great a keeper, if I'm honest. I think, the old romantic in me, I loved Tim Krul, and I always remember that debut. I think it was against Palermo, and he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So I think I'd say Tim Krul, and he's probably at a better level than Forster, even though Forster's been playing Premier League football this season for Tottenham. But I'd probably say Krul. Who did you boys say?
I said Fraser Forster because he is playing a few games in the Premier League, whereas Tim Krul has kind of gone downhill the last while. I think as a journeyman to sit to as a kind of figurehead, no problem bringing Tim Krul.
Do you know what the easy answer is, lads? You buy both of them. Forster's your number 2 and Krul is your 3.
No, I want a better keeper for number 2.
Was it Tim Krul who scored?
To be fair, Daz, he was number 2 with Spurs and did a hell of a better job than the number 1.
Yeah, well, sure. Hugo Reese retired after that game.
Yep.
He's retired him.
Yeah.
Was it Tim Krul? Did Bruno score his chip against Tim Krul? You know that goal where he chipped?
Yes.
It was Tim Krul, wasn't it? Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah.
So back to our never mind fantasy. Let's go back to reality and who we have in the squad. But are we keeping? Where are we putting Mark Gillespie?
He's gone for me.
Gone for me too. Gone. Yeah. Okay. Get
him gone then. Get him gone.
Harrison Ashby. Squad.
Yeah.
Haven't seen much of him yet, but we will, I'm sure, in time. Elliot Anderson, squad.
Yep.
Yeah. Dan Byrne, squad.
Yeah.
Sean Longstaff, 22 million is he's age 25. For me, squad.
Yeah. Homegrown element as well, so that makes it even more. Yeah.
Okay, where are we going now next? Bruno, 60 million is down here. Champions League for sure, and no way would I accept 60 million for him, or double that.
Why have you put Kieran Clark on this spreadsheet?
Because he still was listed as I think
his contract's out in the summer.
Yeah.
He's gone.
He's gone. Yeah, well, look at
Get him in the grey.
Just for the pleasure of putting him in there, I put him on the thing.
Yeah.
So
I know you're thinking that.
Yeah.
You've just made his season, putting him in a Champions League squad. Jesus.
Daz obviously didn't think we were going to talk about ESM for that long. That's all. I needed the extra content in the list.
Carl Darlow offers.
I would put him in the championship one. I'd put him in the good luck. Yeah.
Good luck. But he's good luck. Because you're not gonna. Yeah, he's gone no matter what kind of thing. Yeah.
I don't think he gets integrated back in the squad. I don't.
Let him stay at Hull.
Yeah.
Hull gives a decent fee for him.
Yeah, they've been impressive with him this season.
1.2 million is listed here. 32 is his age for a keeper. It's not too bad.
You guarantee that'll be undisclosed. You'll never find out how much you went for.
Yeah.
4 million or whatever it was. Would just want to get rid of him.
Yeah,
about 4
million. About 4 million.
For Darlow?
Yeah.
What?
I think Darlow's had a decent season.
3.5.
What do you think?
If Dubrovka's 5.
Are you saying higher or lower?
No. I think we'll get pittance for Darlow. Yeah.
Oh, I
think we may want more because he's still got a few years left on his contract. But
contract is the same as Dubrovka. Yeah.
You got to remember, he's only going to the championship, and they haven't got that sort of money to pay out for a goalkeeper. I think Hull, because of their owners, they do pay a little bit more. I think if you got something like 2.5 million for him, I'd snap their hand off for it. I genuinely would. Yeah. I just don't think we're going to get that sort of money for him. To coin a phrase, put 3 million. Yeah, I'd slap your hand off for that all day long.
Go on. We'll say 3 million. Done deal.
Yeah, we'll go 3 million. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Next up is Isaac Hayden.
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
As is the next one.
So
yeah. Just double grey it does.
Double grey.
Double grey.
Yeah.
Garen Crowell was going to go out on loan again, but he's
so where do you put him?
We're not going to listen to
I'll put him in offers. Put him in offers.
Put him in offers.
Yeah, because it's in a loan offer.
Loan offer. Okay. Yeah, loan offer. Okay. All right. Let's put in loan here. So just so anyone confused. Dan Langley doesn't have a price. He's 22.
David John Cook is put out of contract.
So it's gone.
Yeah.
Good luck. Matty Longstaff.
Gone,
I think. As a homegrown element, though.
I think he stays.
Do you think so?
Yeah.
Oh, do you think there's an element of Sounds harsh saying this, but do you think there's an element of he's had a really nasty injury and they're thinking, do you know what, keep him in, look after him. It might look a little bit harsh, mightn't it, if they just go, yeah, see you, mate, you're done.
He's still got a few months left on his recovery. Who's going to take him?
Do you think it plays in? Do you think it plays in a factor as well, Pete? And again, this is a bit dark. But do you think it plays a factor in that it's Sean's brother, and they're thinking, well, you know, we obviously don't want to upset Sean. We want to treat him right. We want to do the right thing by the family. Do you know what I mean? Do you think there's an element of that in there?
I think you're spot on, mate. I think you're spot on. Keep the family happy. Keep Sean happy. Treat Matty right. Let's be honest. Matty was poorly treated under Mike Ashley and Steve Bruce. Hugely. Yeah. He could have massively developed under a different manager, but he never got the opportunity to because he'd already been kind of, you know, poorly managed to the point where he's already on the decline by the time that the takeover happened. I genuinely think he'll be given maybe a 6-month contract until January. That gets him a time to get fit, to train with the first team, and then maybe a loan for the last 6 months. Yeah. And if he has a good loan, it gives him the opportunity to put himself in the shop window for summer 2024. That's just my opinion. But if we need him for the Champions League, we can just add him to the squad for that academy. That academy-based player, potentially. I don't like I said that's just my thoughts on Matt Longstaff in my head, but I could be wrong.
That makes sense, right? Yeah. Okay, let's stick him there for that. Kellen Watts next up, 23.
What do you think? You know what? I would keep him more than any of the other youngsters who are there, like possibly go, because I know Eddie Howe's had him training around the squad before. Obviously, he's been away on loan, and I know he had a nasty injury as well when he was away on loan. So he's about a year behind what Matty Longstaff is now. Obviously, they were both injured for a long spell of time there, but obviously he's got the point of having a year on his contract still left. So that's what, you know, technically, if you want to be harsh on Matty Longstaff, they could get rid of Matty Longstaff for nothing. I think the club, because of the connection he's got, I don't think Newcastle would just chuck him to the wayside. I think they would let him keep his rehab going, even if it was like a month-to-month contract until he was like his rehab was done. If they need to add to the squad, they would do. But if not, you've got Kel Watts there if needs be. Eddie Howe said he liked him. Obviously, he sent him on loan to get more experience. So there's potential. Obviously, we don't know the lasting effects of the injury because it was a bad one. So that's something that would have to be assessed. And obviously, we're not privy to all the rehab and how he's taking things afterwards. So with that sort of thing, you know, he's probably going to go on loan away again because obviously he needs to have a full season in the lower. But if needs be, you can always, if you were really, really struggling for that Champions League element, the homegrown, then he's there if needed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that for Kel Watts?
Yeah.
He actually takes up a space though. Now he's 23. I think they'll move him on. Personally, I genuinely think they'll move him on. I see what you're saying. I think if he'd not got injured this season and had a good season under his belt, I think Eddie Howe would have probably given him another pre-season to have a look at him. But I think with the injury, he's had a couple of bad injuries now, and that might make his decision for him. But interesting one. Interesting.
Either way, he's going in some fashion. I think either in the next 6 months or he's probably not going to be around unless he gets to do something.
Stephen Cameron's just put Kel Watts is older than Botman. Decision made. Get him out.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay, let's leave him where he is for now. But he's definitely aging towards there. Lewis Riley.
Are we saying squad?
Squad?
Yeah,
I think we're saying squad. Yeah.
Boys, I was so impressed with him. against Chelsea.
Yeah,
I know it's only one game and a few, 10, 15 minutes, whatever it was. I was so impressed with him. I think he's got everything that, to be a player that develops, that just having the height, already over 6 foot, he's 17, 18 years old, just the confidence he had to go against some top level.
Let's
Boys, I'm going to have to shoot, unfortunately. But just before I go, I just wanted to bring up Will's comment, which I think is a brilliant comment. Your Champions League group is frighteningly small, but doesn't that show?
That's basically sure. It's like, who are the ones who are like slotted in the team, who are guaranteed the spot going forward stuff. Everything else is just like people need to have upgrades on who will be there next season in the squad. It's not just saying that is your Champions League squad.
Oh no, but no. What I mean is, I think Will makes a great point. Yeah, quality wise, there's
but if you go to that, if you go to that squad bit though, there's a lot of quality in there. We're just highlighting that we do need, because of we're in the Champions League now. We're obviously ahead of the project. It shows how far of the head of the project we are. It's shown where we need to boost it. It's highlighted that we need to bring in, as we think, between 5 and 6 quality players.
Yeah. No, that's why I wanted to highlight it. I think it's a great point. I think it's a great point that Will makes.
So we're saying we need 5 in here, 5 of that caliber to come in there.
That caliber to be guaranteed week in, week out. Yeah, because when you look at that squad, there's some players there. There is some really good players there. But are they players who you would be like more than happy playing week in, week out for 38 games a season plus Champions League?
Yeah. Just shows that we need to strengthen. And of course, all these, as Chris pointed out earlier, all these that we've listed here that could be open to offers, all those won't be going. A handful of them will, perhaps. That's what Lisa. Good. Right, let's revisit the ones that we had in yellow that we had doubts over. Do you want to go back to?
I'm definitely going straight to St. Maximin. I'm definitely going. Listen, boys, it's been a pleasure. I will catch up on the show later on. Lovely to speak to everyone in the chat. Catch you soon.
That's a good price, Chris. A good price.
See you later, guys.
Top man.
Right. Are we leaving ASM where he is? Are we moving him? Go on.
It's up to you, boys.
No, we leave him. Where he is.
He's got him and Miggy have got to be in the same group, whichever way we go for it. We're happy for them to both be in the squad, but we're also happy if there was a fantastic offer came in that we sell them. So it's a difficult one.
Yeah. Then the question is, if you had to keep one, who are you keeping?
For me, you keep ASM over Miggy.
ASM is 26, and Miggy is 29, I think. Yeah, 29. I'm keeping ASM as well.
Yeah, if I was to keep one, I'd keep ASM personally.
Because ASM could have the same season that Miggy had this season. I can't see Miggy having the same impact as he did last season.
That's it. If you look at ASM, if he played the amount of times that Miggy had, you would expect Miggy to have a better. Sorry, you'd expect ASM to have a better season than what Miggy did.
Yeah,
not necessarily scored the amount of goals, but I bet anybody'd have a hell of a lot more assists.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask this now. So if you move if this is hypothetical now, if you move ASM into the squad, who would you start with out of the wingers that are then in the squad choice? So you'd have ASM, you'd have Anthony Gordon, you'd have Jacob Murphy. Who would you start in that left or right wingers position? In the team,
Gordon first up for me, and then it's Eddie. If Eddie Howe can get ASM singing in pre-season, I'd start ASM and have Murphy as our backup like he used to be.
What would you go for, Richie?
It's a difficult one because as Takoya Fraser just put it there as well. We've also seen how these two have played when they play on the left-hand side, especially the relationship when Jordan plays on the left and Willock. So you've got to consider them as well because that's worked really well for them. So it's a really difficult one because we haven't, apart from Jacob Murphy, we haven't really got an out-and-out right winger. As what you would say as a winger. So on that sort of need, you would probably keep Miggy because of to keep the squad balance the same because you've probably got more options on the left as it is. However, for me, and Pete, you said this as well, you can play Maxi on the right and you can guarantee he probably wouldn't score you as many, which to be fair, he hasn't over the last few years really.
No.
But you would still get a phenomenal assists on that side. So for me, I think because Maxi could technically play on both flanks, I'd still keep Maxi over Miggy.
I'm surprised he's not played Maxi more on the right hand side. I've got to be honest. I think that from a creative point of view, he's played some of his best football on that side, and he's created a number of assists over the last couple of years. I agree with you. I think ASM and Miggy could well be first choice with Isaac through the middle. I think you're absolutely right, but I still go with my thought in that we need a right-sided attacking inside forward more than we do a left-sided. For the reason that you've just said, Rich, you've just said Joe Linton. I absolutely agree. Joe Linton's played some of his best football this season on that left-hand side of the front three. He's been outstanding. And then you've got Willock in that crossover, and they've got that understanding.
And you've got Gordon, who's going to, after when he has his full pre-season behind him, work with Eddie Howe. You don't know what capabilities he's going to have because technically, anyone who's a winger, you can technically play any winger on either side. It just, do you want them to be a winger that cuts in, or do you want to be a winger that's not afraid to go on the outside and put a ball in? So it all depends on how you want to set your team up as well. There's loads of different options.
The other thing I was just thinking there as well is Miggy. We would miss that press he offers because he's relentless in the press. But I think full preseason for Gordon, I think Gordon could do that because we've seen him do it for Everton before. There was a clip of when we signed him, and he was ran the full circuit of the pitch on the press. So, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, I'd have ASM above ahead of Anthony Gordon personally, on the right or the left. And let's not forget, Anthony Gordon scored his goal against Chelsea on the right hand side, making the run inside, which is what I said to you boys when he first signed. I said he played more on the right hand side for Everton before he signed for Newcastle, and then he had on the left hand side. I actually think it's better. It's an interesting one. Look, ASM is more likely to leave. Of course he is, because he raises more money. But I think there's an argument for keeping ASM above Miggy, but that's a different conversation. Rishi, I don't know if you want to come to the point that Callum made further up.
Yeah, I've just put it in our private chat, actually, because I saw the tweet earlier on. It came through. Obviously, Sean, friend of the channel, was on last week. If you got to see the show, it was a fantastic show. If you didn't, it's available to catch up at your leisure. But tonight he's basically said that Newcastle and Arsenal are in talks about for Kieran Tierney. They're about 10 million apart on valuation at this moment in time. Obviously, if you want to find out a bit more about Kieran Tierney, we did this fantastic short the other day. Go and have a look at that. Excuse me. Also, that apparently Liverpool have put a bid in for Romeo Lavia from Southampton. Obviously, there's a few buyback clause in there from, I think it's Man City, I believe. But Newcastle have been asked Southampton to be kept in the loop if anything was to happen regards Romeo Lavia.
What is going on with Saudi at the moment?
What's happening now?
What do now?
N'Golo Kante is going to Saudi.
Yeah, that's been talked about all day. Yeah,
Fabrizio Romano just put it on as a thing. What is going on, man?
I'm telling you, they could come into some of our players. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a few Newcastle players move on now. The way that's shaping up, if they're going for Zaha as well, like why not? Why not like a Ryan Fraser go out there, or someone. Jamal Lewis could kick-start his career there out there. Even Jamal himself might like it out there. He's been out there a few times as well. He knows what to expect. So why not? Get us some good value on that. I think that's it for our squad game. I think we came up with a pretty good list there, and we've identified where we need at least five quality players to fit in that Champions League box. But any other questions we want to go to before we wrap it up, lads?
I'll just go through what we've obviously Michael Porbar had mentioned about a few linked with Southampton players at Livramento, Bella Acocha, obviously Carlos Alcaraz was late this afternoon as well. We've mentioned him a couple of times. We've all been impressed with what we saw him. He'd be a fantastic addition as well if Newcastle were looking to go that way. So obviously there's some more names to watch out for. Obviously we discussed the PIF buyout of the PGA before. Gary Milliken, question for the loaded lads. Who would your marquee signing be?
Dominic Szoboszlai, the way it's going now, the way the names have been mentioned, I think it would be a standout for me. But just on the current batch of names that's out there. But if we're talking anyone, you're talking the likes of the crazy names like Osman or KK or that kind of ilk. But no, I think let's keep it a bit more realistic, and I think Szoboszlai.
Pete?
Oh, sorry. Before we go to Pete, I forgot one. I've answered this before. Declan Rice. And after that, they play in the Conference League tomorrow. So make sure you wish Dan Lawless good luck on that one. But Declan Rice, if Arsenal don't cough up the money, I'd love us to sign Declan Rice. But sorry, Pete, over to you.
I'm not going to lie. I would love to make a statement. And a statement, and it will be like no, not Madders. Madders is a great signing, by the way, but I would love to make a statement. Basically, everybody shut the fuck up type statement. That's what I want. That's what I want. A statement type signing. Everybody shut the fuck up. We are here. We are here to do big business. So Victor Osimhen would be the guy. It's a big signing. Is it possible? Probably not. Have we got the money? We have. But I would love that guy to be the signing. Lots of people have mentioned the signings, Madison's, Szoboszlai's. They're all big fees. They're all around the exact type of fee. But I would just, if we're going to make a big statement, you're talking 100 million. Big money. That is the type of signing that I would want. 100%.
It's an interesting one because you've got to look at who needs a centre forward when we talk about the marquee side. You always think of a marquee side as being a striker, really, who's going to like it was when we brought the world record to get on Shearer, obviously a long time ago. But it has to have that feel. Would you agree, lads? It has to have that feel. That's what you would class as your marquee player. So you look at who's available. Obviously, you look at Harry Kane. Would he probably go to Newcastle? There's outside chance of that, but there's probably other teams that Real Madrid are potentially looking at them. Bayern Munich have mentioned them. Man United have been linked with him. Then you go to Victor Osimhen as well. Then it's obviously Chelsea are looking for a forward on that. They've got the money to probably splash on that. Man United again linked on that. And then you look at who else who's an out and out, as you say, a marquee standard striker that would come after that. And there probably isn't where I think the one that you potentially in that tier of then you go back to the Vlahoviches, which we looked at, we talked about in depth last year before you went to Juventus, Pete Daz, when we did the fully loaded transfer. Yeah. You could possibly even look at another person we discussed as well, who had a fantastic season, being the focal point after Nunes left and Goncalo Ramos. He's had a fantastic season at Benfica. So, but there isn't a marquee striker out there who I realistically think we get this window. I think we're 12 months too early for that marquee, that big, huge marquee one. But I agree it would probably be the Osimhen, Kane sort of ilk. But whether we get that, I don't think we do. But there we go. Michael Pormar, he says, don't laugh, right? But obviously question. Little Messi is being rumoured. Easy to laugh and dismiss about how much he could be obviously signed and help towards FFP in terms of his marketing and shirt sales. Because obviously, if he's on a free, you don't pay. Obviously, his wages would be astronomical, but the market and the commercial side of stuff, you'd probably get astronomical, stuff in for it.
The only way that would work is if a club in Saudi signs them and load them to us. But it's pipe dream. And I don't want those type of players coming in. Those at the end of their careers. I know people saying you don't want Messi, but I want us to build our own brand here, not take someone else and try and sell us to the masses. So that's why I want to stay clear of the Ronaldos, the Messis, the Neymars, the Benzemas even as well. It's not what I'd like us to do. It's what everyone expected us to do at the start. I'd like us to continue the trajectory we're on.
Man City did it with is it New York Red Bulls with Lampard. They kind of it agreed to deal with them in America, and then he kind of went on a short loan with Man City and then moved on. It is part of the process in building the brand and building that kind of high-profile player. I just don't see Newcastle doing it. I just don't see that happening. I think going to Saudi.
I think if we go back to the very starting point of the show and we talk about all the information that Jamie Rubin mentioned, he doesn't fit into that mold anymore. It's not it's not as though Yasser's the boss and says, right, that's it, Messi done. Here we go.
The data.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? There is this as Michael Palmer said, there's some fantastic plus points to it, but there's some fantastic downsides to it as well. Would he? Because obviously you look at Lionel Messi, yes, it would give all these squad members a huge lift him coming in, but at the same time, is he prepared to put the same work ethic in like the rest of the team, which he's probably not going to fall into? So do you lose respect of your teammates on that one? So it's
Messi would probably be the one player that could probably get away with it in world football. He's got away with it at PSG. He doesn't defend. He hasn't done even when he was at Barcelona the last 2 or 3 years before he left Barca to go to PSG. He doesn't defend. He could probably get away with it at Newcastle. He'd probably be the only player that could. But you've got to then consider the amount of money that he's on before he comes to Newcastle. And although they would love to play with a player like Messi, like you can't deviate from the philosophy.
No.
I'm not being funny. If you're not going to accept Alan St-Maximin going back and defending, are you going to accept Messi doing it in this type of system where if one player doesn't do the business, it lets you down?
Yeah. Just obviously on the FFP point, Joy 2 for Life has mentioned about obviously when we first got took over, Kieran Maguire came on the show and said Newcastle could technically spend 800 million and be on the right side of FFP. Am I missing something? Look, FFP changes every single year. The regulations change and stuff like that. You could technically go out and spend 800 million, but you'd be done. Do you know what I mean? But that's not the way things are going to go. Obviously, you've got to do it the right way. You've got to plan. So, look, these guys know what to do. We've got football people in to do football business. So, look, they're clever. They're going to be able to work way around things so they can have as much money as possible in different windows, as we already highlighted tonight. Look, they went and spent 63 million, club record for Alexander Isak, probably 12 months ahead of time. If it's there, they will do the deal if it's the right deal. if it fits into what they think is a reasonable deal and isn't going to break the plan going forward. So, yes, you spend 800 million. Does it go against the plan that they want to together? Yes, it does. Because especially when, obviously, we're going to get a cash injection of Champions League football this year. We're going to have a fantastic new shirt sponsor, which is going to help FFP as well. And there was a lot of people mentioning about have we undervalued ourselves at 25 million for the new shirt sponsorship compared to some of the ones that other Champions League teams have getting? Yes, you potentially are, but at the end of the day, you build, you stagger it up, so it helps with your FFP going forward as well. That in, say, 5 years' time, you might be able to get a 50 or 60 million or even bigger, depending on what echelons Newcastle are at that time. So, yeah, it's sensible business on that front. But also the fact that, just to let people know, we are trying to get Kieran Maguire on at some point this month to go over it again, because obviously we're nearly 2 years into the project now, so there's obviously a lot happened since he first came on, and obviously subsequent appearances as well. Unfortunately, at the time of the year, and obviously people get promoted, relegated, and stuff like that, and he's a university lecturer, he's got a lot of exams to mark. We are trying to get him on, obviously, and I don't know if anyone else has seen, he's had a lot of media stuff on Sky as well, and TalkSport and BT Sport, so we are trying to get him. He has promised he will come on, so just finalising the date for that one. To coin a phrase, has mentioned about Dominic Szoboszlai. Does he play on the left-hand side or right-hand side? Well, I know me and Daz both watched him on Friday, on Saturday night in the cup final. He did play on the right-hand side of the three and was exceptional. He was absolutely amazing. Obviously, could play centrally as well. So he's another player who's hasn't just got that one streak where he played numerous different positions. He could probably play in all of the three positions, centre, right and left. So at least, as we mentioned before, young lad, 22-year-old. He's captain of Hungary as well. He's just primed to be built around, and he's still developing as well. He would be an exceptional player if he was to come in, but he could predominantly central or right hand side. Just to get to answer that question, to coin a phrase. I don't know if you know the answer to this one, Dan. I do, but obviously I don't want to give you a chance to answer it. It's just off Lisa. She was saying about now that Kowal's loan spell has finished Hearts. Obviously, can he play for us, or she's not unsure about the work visa aspect, but
he can play for us, I think, can't he?
I don't think he qualifies for the core efficiency still, because he didn't have as much. Didn't get the required points because obviously he wasn't playing week in, week out. He sat on the bench for the majority of it. So, if what I can gather, he's still going to have another 12-month loan to get those coefficient points up, because obviously you can't get it in England, so you'd have to go either back to Scotland or you'd have to go to Europe.
Come to Go United and sort you out. But yeah, look, cool. Richie, I might jump in and just tell people what's happening.
Can I just say one thing before you do? Because obviously we can round the show off that. It's just to say, Brett wants to apologise for his type tonight. He's had plenty of wine juice because it's his birthday. So Brett, obviously a big fellow, happy birthday, mate. Enjoy that wine. There you go, Dan. Sorry about that.
Nice one. You're right, Richie. Happy birthday, Brett. Right. Just let people know, as we mentioned earlier in the show, that we are back on Thursday night, 7:30, with Graham Bailey to talk all things transfers in the Fully Loaded Transfer Show. So a lot to talk about there, and ASM will definitely get a mention. I'm sure Graham is looking forward to that one. Also, then, shout out to our sponsors. Shout out to the radiatorshed.com. And as we put Richie in jail there, and I'll just knock off that comment. Boom, boom, gone. And here are some of the fabulous radiators in all shapes and sizes, even small ones. As we pointed out the last day, available from Russ. So check those out at your leisure. Call into the showroom, of course. And there is Russ, also the Install Works, Russ's company, who will come in the loaded van and sort you out with those radiators. Shout out also to H2O Bathroom Design Co., the Northeast's largest supplier of Velcro and botch bathroom wear. Team Valley Gateshead, over 20 years established, run by the family. Get down to the showroom on 11th Avenue, Team Valley Estate, Gateshead. And yeah, here are some of the fabulous bathrooms on offer there. But I'd say get down to that showroom and you will find something you like if you're looking for something I mentioned, Loaded Mag, and you will get some kind of a discount. can't beat it. That's it, I think, guys, isn't it?
I think it is.
I think it is. No, thanks for everyone for joining us. Thanks for everyone who played along as well. Only one thing left to say. How'd you like that?
How you like?